Let's go, America. A hard and difficult and frustrating thought process. There's no better and more opportunity than now with the coronavirus pandemic to really start to figure out stimulus, to get stronger, to get more fit, to get more strength. Now, partying and trying to figure out what to do next don't solve many problems. People have been trying to figure out what to do next forever. People have been talking about psychology forever. People have been taking medicine for psychiatry forever. It's hard to get going and to get the inspiration and motivation to really have the energy to solve problems, to make progress. Talking, words, language are useless. And why potentially getting behavior and tribalism involved gets to be dangerous and restrictive and dang near controlling. They ignore stimulus. They ignore time. in order for folks and people to get going, to get America going, there has to be a speed where people can think with their brain and do with their bodies, and a time with room to adjust. And pause. Google started allowing people to take naps, resting the mind, probably. My theory. So many rules and regulations and restrictions in place in the business, making sure nobody messes with another life. All lives matter. Kind of makes yelling hard and screaming for extra energy illegal. People's ears might hurt and then they might be emotionally sad, and that's not okay in these kinds of places. Mindset and tribalism start the same process that was eventually going to exceed the limits of anybody on Earth, including animals, and why climate change was eventually not a possibility, a eventual occurrence, an eventual natural disaster. Because everyone wants to increase and keep the mind on task to allow that to happen. Anybody who's ever gone in a car and tried to make a left-hand turn like me back in the 90s at 60 miles an hour knows physics are brutal. And risky. And similarly, stopping from 100 miles an hour causes tire damage, causes physical harm, maybe. But a slow left-hand turn and an easy drive home aren't violent. A slow, gradual slowing down from going fast can be a stimulus. Here in Seattle, Washington, there seems to be an kind of implied reason for the speed and the disarray and the misdirection and the confusion with all the drug addicts and all the gangsters and the thugs and the graffiti everywhere. And how unexciting small businesses are now for poor people Or maybe just me, poor person. Saying, well, that's why there's so much speed. That's why there's so much confusion. Hard to get everything working right in such a small area with so much population. Except what's not talked about is how smart these folks and people are. Engineers, technicians, software designers, and how unintelligent the process appears from my perspective. And how relaxed gangsters and thugs are, and how slow drug addicts move, unimpeded. Taking away that pause and that stop for the risk of bumping into them and getting attacked or assaulted. And then having the limits set by that drug dealer, that gangster who's in the cartel from Mexico with heroin, fentanyl, crack, meth, and psychosis. Normally, people would avoid these kinds of places, and these kinds of folks and people would be alone. But politics don't allow this decision to happen. They demand everybody help one another, and they make everyone feel good. And language like I'm using now, and the racism involved in it, and the hate are intolerable. What Mr. Former President Barack Obama has said about the mind and the body, the tribalism with the body and the mindset with the tribalism, and the insistence with the brain, makes getting up and going a very intensive brain process. Almost too much to even theorize or strategize. Without simply accepting the demands from the bad people and the folks who yell and scream at the government, the state, and the world with conspiracy theories and philosophical ideologies of right and wrong, emotion and failure, confusion, misdirection.